Good morning, Jimmy Pipes Network. A wonderful, beautiful day here with a special guest today, Kenny here, my guy. All right, so what we got here are two guys staying sober, point blank. Okay, we know how we stay sober. This is part of it. Okay, we're trying to reach out to help somebody, anybody. It doesn't even matter who. Okay, I'm staying sober today. I know what I want. I'm a part of something, and I just want to throw in real quick that although the church slammed shut in Bayshore and all the other meetings all around the world, apparently, for me, the meetings never stopped. Okay, it's just a building to me. It always was. It still is now. First place I'm going when it opens back up. Okay, and I think now the difference for me when I go to a meeting, it's going to be more helping others orientated. That's why I go now. I want to go right back to the room when it opens to help. That's what I want to do. And by default, that helps me, so it works perfectly. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay in the meetings, whether the rooms are open or not, because I know how good they are for me. And if I can help anyone today, somebody, it doesn't matter who, that would mean everything to me. Because after everything that happened, okay, after the horror I've seen, after the death, after the institutions, my family, it destroyed my, we won't get into that, but I've been given a brand new life, like I was reborn in every way, mentally, spiritual, physically. I will not let it go to waste. I won't. And that's a choice I get to make. I was just sharing with my guy, Kenny, that I get to make choices. The best gift of sobriety to me is the ability to make a choice every single day. I can think now. My mind is clear. My conscience is clear too. I get to sleep at night. So today I've decided to move forward, get something done, to look after my children, to make amends in spots whenever I get the chance. There's people in need all around me. Okay, guess what? I'm going to be there today. I want to turn it over to Kenny for a few minutes. He's got a good reading and he wants to share.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to read from the Daily Reflections. I'm just going to open the book to whatever page comes. That's the way I do it every morning. So I opened it up to page 269, Freedom from Fear. When with God's help, we calmly accepted our lot. Then we found we could live at peace with ourselves and show others who still suffered the same fears that they could get over them too. We found that freedom from fear was more important than freedom from want. Material values ruled my life for many years during my active alcoholism. I believed that all of my possessions would make me happy. Yet I still felt bankrupt after I obtained them. When I first came into AA, I found out about a new way of living as a result of learning to trust others. I began to believe in a power greater than myself. Having faith freed me from the bondage of self as material gains were replaced by the gifts of the Spirit. My life became manageable. I then chose to share my experience with other alcoholics. So freedom from fear today is important. I don't know if I'm going to speak directly on that subject. I thought it was important to read AA material. I'm just going to share what I do each and every day now that the meetings are closed. First off, let me just say this. I didn't think I had a prayer when the meetings shut down. In the past, when I had missed meetings, I had suffered greatly.
Wow.
But I have adapted to this this temporary way of life, and I'm going to just express real quickly how I do it. Each and every morning, I get up and I read something from the Daily Reflections, something from As Bill Sees It, a series of pages from the Big Book, something from the 24-hour book, something from the Living Sober book. Before I read, I get on my knees and I say to God that I used to pray for things I wanted, solutions of problems that I'm having, things of that nature. Now I only ask, thy will be done. Because God is in control, not me. And there is a great relief in that. I don't have to drive the bus. All I have to do is cooperate with whatever the universe is doing at that time. It really has nothing to do with me. So now I get on my knees in the morning and I thank God for yesterday's sobriety. I ask for today's sobriety. And I ask to act. Please grant me the strength and the willingness to act the way you would, God, to say the things that you would say, to think the things that you would think, and hopefully to be the way God would be on just this any given day. And I dedicate my life and my thoughts and my actions to God for that day. And I never do it perfectly, but that's my mental and spiritual mindset for the day. And then I read a series of pages from the books, and I start calling other people from the fellowship. And Jimmy and I have always been very close since the day he walked in the room. I liked him right away. And that's how I go throughout my day. Now, as my day starts to go south inside my head, I start taking my will back. I take notice, or somebody points it out to me, and I go right back to my reading, my praying, and I go right back to my phone calls. There really is no reason to pick up. We are not alone. A psychic change is what's required. Even if you haven't gone through the 12 steps, if you dedicate your life for the day to a higher power, at least for me, that'll work.
Wow. Can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
All right. So the isolation. Do you feel isolated? If so, I know you don't. Why don't you feel isolated? Because I could actually say that for me, I'm not isolated. And I'm not isolated because I don't want to leave. I could talk about, I can't go out, I'm stuck. Or I could make a choice and stay home with my kids, have a little fun, and have freedom from right inside the house. So I'm not isolated. What would you say to that?
Well, it's not difficult for me as an alcoholic to isolate.
I make it look so easy sometimes. Honesty is great.
My lifestyle before, let me just say that I understand there are people suffering out there that have lost their jobs. So that type of isolation is a lot more difficult than what I have. I don't have that position, I played my guitar in the morning. While I was going to meetings, I would get up in the morning and do the things that I had already just mentioned, regardless if I had a meeting that day. That's what I would do.
Sort of routine.
And so that didn't change. I just had to add more to it in my practicing and within what the fellowship wants from me.
You said it before, you're adapting.
Right. And I usually play guitar throughout the day in my house. That's my hobby. That's what I love. That didn't stop. I still see my kids. That didn't stop. And I'm trying to get some exercise at home. And so that didn't stop. So my life really hasn't changed all that much. The fact that I can't go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy a pair of gloves, I'm not affected. The fact that I can't fly down to Florida right now, I don't have any money. It doesn't matter. So, what did they really shut me out of? My meetings. That was all that was important to me.
Good. One other question now about the phones. Picking up the telephone is more important now than ever, for obvious reasons.
Listen, I have, before I made a full commitment to the fellowship, I went in and out of the rooms for a very long time, decades. And I thought it was because I couldn't get it. As I realize now, I didn't want it. That's why I went in and out.
Wow.
So, what is my point? I lost my meetings. Now I do meetings over the phone.
Just that simple for you, right? You just adapted.
2 people is a meeting.
That's it.
I call about 3, 4, 5 people a day, depending on how I feel and what's going on for the day, and who needs me and who doesn't. The meetings really haven't stopped. Only if you don't pick up the phone during the day, then the meetings have stopped for you.
Yep.
And if you don't pick up your book, then it has stopped. If you don't turn your life and your will over to a higher power, it has stopped. And then you'll drink. And that's okay, if that's what you choose. But you have to realize that's your choice. So,
So it's not because the room's shut you go drink. It's because you made a choice.
I used to drink over my ex-wife. I used to drink over my bills. I used to drink over people, places, and things, circumstances. Well, at least that's what I thought I used to drink over. But that's not really true. I used to drink because I wasn't willing to turn my life and my will over every day to the best of my ability. Now that I do that, I don't drink, with or without meetings.
So your sobriety is contingent on nothing.
My sobriety is contingent upon my turning my will and my life over on a daily basis to a higher power and staying connected to the fellowship in the way that they have taught me to do it.
Brilliant. All right, let's end it there. Last thoughts would be, Kenny and I are going to stay sober today. Those are the last thoughts. We made a decision. We made a commitment. And we know exactly how to stay sober. The rooms were never going to make us go drink. It's a choice we make. And with everybody I'm 48. Everybody for the first time in the history of my life has one thing in common, or 2 things, 3 things in common this morning. This is everybody I know, everybody on the planet has something in common today. And we have a chance now to lead by example today. And that's exactly what me and Kenny are going to do. Just want to wish everybody a blessed day.